To get this engine running on the bench, I need to remove the wiring loom from the frame and repair it. Well, this is interesting. That's the stator connector, which has got the different connectors for the earlier bike, but I notice it runs around the top of the fuel tank there, and that's the light for the odometer. I had run it across this side previously, which is obviously wrong, so I can now get that loom out right through there. Yeah, the main thing I've learned from what I've just done is that one goes around the top of the fuel tank, which I didn't do on my first 1990 bike, and it was a bit messy, that cable running across here instead. So I'll take that out. This shows the 94 frame now. So all of those are running up, including the main loom. Stator comes around the top of the fuel tank like the other one. Fuel line, vacuum line running up there, speedo there. I'm going to drop the tank down to make it easier to get all of those out. You've seen me removing a partial loom from the old 88 frame, and then I'm now on the 94 frame removing the whole loom, and these pictures show the routing of the cables and the hoses up through the headstock, just for reference when it comes to putting stuff back in the right place. The 94 voltage regulator had been bodged up with 5 individual spade terminals, and the same on the loom. The 1990 bike also had a bad terminal on its voltage regulator. The red wire had a separate spade terminal. I was able to find the same 6-way connector housing at a local auto parts store, so I went ahead and replaced the housing completely on the 94 regulator, and then used a terminal to fix the 90 regulator and the looms. I have bought a new battery, and it sort of slots in to a bit of a compartment I've made there. I've got some scrap blocks of wood. I have screwed the CDI box to the side of the frame. That's where it originally was screwed to when I built this originally. I even found some of the blocks that I used originally, but not all of them, so I've had to just quickly fabby up something that will work. I'll go ahead now and attach the coil and the regulator and various starter, relay and things like that to this, just so that they're in place and I can then loop the loom around. So this is the wiring loom and a few other bits and pieces strapped around the motor. I've got the ignition switch here, the run start switch here, neutral relays, the 3 fuses in there, the new connector for the regulator, coil, regulator, CDI box. I've got the neutral and reverse switches plugged in. I've got the temperature sensor for the thermatic fan plugged in. I've got the spark plug just grounded by a big lead, so I can sit it there. I've got it plugged into the coil. That big lead just goes across to a ground. Rear uni joint there may rotate a bit when it starts to turn, so let's get that out of the way. I've just got starter motor leads on. They're just draped around. They're too long in this configuration. That's where the CDI box plugs in. There's certain things not plugged in at the moment. I suspect they're not necessary. Well, I know they're not necessary, like headlight, like a horn. This main exercise here is to see that electrical system is sparking. So I turn that to on. I've got a neutral light. Means the neutral switch up here is grounding and the gearbox is actually in neutral. That's on. Switch here in my hand. I've got to put that across to run and press start. I think this start button's a bit flaky. Let's have a look at the spark plug. Interesting, that spark seems to be going and then stopping, going and then stopping. Anyway, that's really what this rig at this stage was designed to do, is test for spark, and we've got a spark, so it means the stator connected through here is generating some power, and the Hall effect sensor on those green and black wires are sending a signal to the CDI box. I haven't measured the voltage when it's not running yet, so we don't know what the stator is actually generating. I know I've got 12 volt or a 12.7 volt battery in there at the moment. It's getting close. I think that the next stage is to put the carburetor on and put some drip fuel into it. I'll put a carburetor and exhaust on it tomorrow, so get out to your shed and have some fun.